That down. Let's talk about this, shall we? You know, the other day we did a story about how a short list kind of came out about who the directors are that are being looked at to direct the next James Bond film. And we were thrilled because every name on the list was a banger, including Edgar Wright and a number of others. And one of the other names was arguably the greatest director working right now, Denis Villeneuve. I mean, really, it's like Steven Spielberg is the greatest filmmaker of all time. But if you're talking about who's at the height of their powers right now, I think the conversation is simply two people. It's Christopher Nolan and it's Denis Villeneuve. Like that's the limit of the conversation to me. When you're talking about a guy who's made the Dune films, which a lot of people thought was strictly impossible, and I think Dune 2 is the best film made in the last 10 years, or you're talking about Sicario, or you're talking about Arrival, or you're talking about Prisoners, or even that Jake Gyllenhaal movie, Enemy. Which I think that's an underappreciated film. I really like that movie. He is just simply, or Blade Runner 2049. He is simply one of the finest, and of course a good Canadian kid as well, the finest filmmaker working today. And it is now official. The director of Dune, Dune 2, Sicario, Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, and Prisoners. I almost forgot Prisoners. He's directing the next James Bond film. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. Denis Villeneuve is going from Dune to 007. The filmmaker has been tapped to direct the next James Bond movie, the first from Amazon MGM Studios. Some of my earliest movie-going memories are connected to 007. I grew up watching James Bond films with my father ever since Dr. No with Sean Connery. I am a diehard Bond fan. To me, he's sacred territory. I intend to honor the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come, said Villeneuve. This is a massive responsibility, but also incredibly exciting for me and a huge honor. I want to reread one thing he said there. I want to honor the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come. They didn't say it directly in the article. Sounds to me like Denis Villeneuve is going to be directing a number of James Bond films. Look, while a lot of my fellow movie-going fans, and understandably so because it is important, tend to focus on how good or bad the potential of a movie is based on who they cast in it, I've always said it all starts with who you got directing it. We're talking about stories. Who's the storyteller? Who's the storyteller? That is the number one thing to me about how much potential a movie has. And Rob, to me, they have come out of the gate, and we were excited about a number of names. We were really excited about the possibility of an Edgar Wright doing it, but I said I would be thrilled with any of these names. They went out and they got arguably the single best storyteller in Hollywood right now in Denis Villeneuve to be the guy to direct James Bond. Look, you can say whatever you want. Oh, it's going to suck because it's at Amazon. Hey, guys, listen, once we start running down the list, Amazon's been making some really good stuff.
Yeah, they really have.
But they have shown that they are dead effing serious about Bond because they just went out and got the best director in the world right now. You know, or 1A, whatever you want to call them. And I think this is incredibly, incredibly exciting. And now, Rob, I'll go out on a limb. I think we are not months. I think we are weeks away from finding out who the new James Bond is. I honestly think we are just weeks away from finding out. But anyway, Rob, in this room, you are the biggest Bond file. They've just announced Denis Villeneuve is going to be the director of it. How are you feeling about it?
Okay, I have to say I'm of two minds on this one. I love Denis Villeneuve as a filmmaker, all the way back to his film Incendies. I mean, I love Arrival. I love Sicario. I love Prisoners. I like Enemy. Blade Runner 2049. I couldn't believe that we got that. And his Dune movies are fantastic. He's a fantastic director. However, and hearing his love of James Bond, it's amazing. James Bond as a franchise is not an auteurist franchise. You know, it's always been sort of a workaday. The directors like John Glenn, who directed multiple Bond movies, was an editor on the Bond franchise and got promoted. That's how the Broccoli's did it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we got like Martin Campbell, who directed both GoldenEye, and then he came back into Casino Royale. He introduced the world to both Pierce Brosnan and then Daniel Craig. And then Sam Mendes, Academy Award-winning Sam Mendes, did Skyfall and Spectre. To me, the James Bond franchise, directors are great. And I would dare say Skyfall is probably the best directed Bond film. But Bond also lives and dies with its scripts. And I want to know who's writing this movie. I don't know if Denis Villeneuve is going to write it. But Denis Villeneuve is a pretty serious dude. Like, Bond needs a little bit of effervescence, and it needs a little bit of, like, humor. It's got to be fun.
Levity.
As well. Yes, you can't be. Now, I tweeted out, I would love to see a Sicario-esque Bond. Like, hell, make Benicio del Toro. He started off his career in License to Kill back in '89.
Oh,
bring
wow,
him back,
yeah.
bring him back as the henchman when he was like 18. Bring him back as the Bond villain. You know, but if you could get a Sicario hardcore James Bond, I'd be all for that. But we also need Bond's got to be fun. And the Bond franchise is very hit and miss. Even though I love all the Bond movies, there's a lot of Bond movies that are questionable.
Sure.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I've
not
been
just the recent ones. There are some of the older ones that are kind
look,
of
I will
questionable,
defend Moonraker till its dying day, but that's a goofy movie. And, you know, but I do think that, look, this is a great step in the right direction. But who's going to play Bond and who's going to write the script are big things for me, because Sam Mendes is a great director too. We've seen great directors come on, but Bond is a special concoction that needs all the right ingredients. So I think it's a great choice for
Like
director.
a Vesper Martini.
Like a Vesper Martini. But, you know, if you look, you've got to have a little bit of... Denis Villeneuve is not good on levity.
Well,
He's
let me challenge you
He's
on
a
that.
serious dude.
When has he done levity and not done it well?
Well, that's true.
That right? I mean, so that's
true.
He it's not that he can't do levity. It's that because it's not like there's been a movie that tried to be funny. And
right.
being
That's
funny.
no, you're right. He didn't make 1941.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't do that.
And I would say there are some really good. You don't think of this, Serge, when you think about the Dune films. There are some good laughs peppered in here and there in the Dune films.
It's true.
Sparingly. And you are right. Like, that's when we were talking about how both you and I were really excited about the potential of an Edgar Wright.
Like, Edgar Wright, to me, you know, but what I find really interesting, John, is what James Gunn's Superman is doing is bringing a lightness and a levity back to the character of Superman. We've lived in a very, like, all the Daniel Craig movies with the even a little bit, Casino Royale is my favorite, but they got so relentlessly overbearing and dark, and bad things happen, and Bond was like, oh, woe is me, and M's like, well, you lost a step. I'm like, I don't want that from James Bond.
You want to see a James Bond. Like, listen, the Daniel Craig Bond is my all-time favorite Bond.
Sure.
But that being said, now that I've had that Bond, I am with you in the sense that I'm ready to watch a James Bond who loves what he does.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
And a real mission-based Bond.
Sort of like a Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, a little bit more in the Pierce Brosnan,
And I don't mean the
Roger
tone of the-
Moore style.
No,
Bond.
but
I'm ready to
those
swing
movies.
back
Spy
that
Who
way.
Loved Me, man. Give me an underwater city, you know, and give me some megalomaniac that wants to destroy the world. You know, not somebody that's like, well, you know, like in Elliot Carver in Tomorrow Never
Well,
Dies.
Mr.
The
Bond.
only good news is bad news.
I mean, you do at the same time though. You got to modernize Bond.
You do.
At the same time, but
Sure.
I think if there is somebody who can crack that code, I think it'll be Denis Villeneuve.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Look, I want to see a globe-trotting Bond. I want to see a Bond that drinks great liquor,
But knows his
sleeps
liquor.
with beautiful women, knows
I want to see him know his vintage.
Yeah, he knows what
By the smell.
temperature to serve Bollinger at. You know, it's like even at the beginning of Die Another Day, Bond goes into, when he's all disheveled, you know, he orders a Bollinger. If you have any more of that Bollinger 61, could you send up a bottle? I want that Bond. You know, or the Bond with goes teat to teat with Amanya Amasova, Triple X, when they both are in front of their collective in front of Gogol and in front of M. They're trading who knows more about whatever the hell they're talking about. I want that Bond.
Yeah, and listen, this is going to sound weird, but it's who's Q. I mean that's going to. I would love to see Q play not the secondary role, but a strong supporting role in it as well. Like, and again, I'm not saying I want a yuck Bond. I just want a Bond who really enjoys what he does. Again,
Colin Firth.
like John's pointing out, like a guy more in the vein, because we've had now the one, but now I'm ready to try a different Bond, something more back along the lines of a Pierce Brosnan or Roger Moore. Like,
and it doesn't have to be silly, but just someone who loves what they do.
Yeah, not silly, just truly enjoys what and who they do.
You know, somebody pointed out, you know, it's now King Charles in the UK.
Yeah.
So you could make the movie, you could call it His Majesty's Secret Service. Yep. I mean, I think that would be a great, because it tells you it's a new day, you know, something new is coming out. And I mean, I'd love to see that. But again, like you said, the secondary characters, who's going to play M? Who's going to play Q?
Moneypenny.
Yeah, who's going to play Moneypenny? Are they going to start all over again, or is Ray Fiennes going to come back?
Dude, but that being said, I love Ray Fiennes.
I'm okay with that.
Having
Ray Fiennes back?
I mean, Judi Dench.
They had the same M with different double O's.
Yeah,
so
that's. I mean,
and they
absolutely.
Had the same Q with different double O's.
Yes, he went a long
Desmond Llewellyn went a long way.
I think it was.
I'd be all for it.
He went out in Pierce
Die Another
Brosnan.
Day, right? Or Tomorrow Never Knows.
No, I think it was
Tomorrow Never
Die
Dies?
Another Day. Where his last
Tomorrow Never Knows.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
Tomorrow
Never
something
Knows.
ever. Brand New Day. Spider-Man.
Tomorrow Never Knows.
All right, guys. The question is for you. What do you think about this? Look, you guys know how I feel about Denis. I just think he is maybe the best director in the world right now. Like him and Christopher Nolan. That's who it is. And that he's directing a Bond. Number one, it's also exciting because it tells us that Amazon ain't dicking around when it comes to Bond. They are taking this effing seriously. They're going out and getting the heaviest of the heavy swingers. So I think this is exciting. Doesn't automatically mean it's going to be good. Anyway, whatever you guys feel about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.